Steel and Flame, Book 1 of the Guilds of Avlaan series is available on Amazon. If you like fluffy world-lolly protagonists and Japanese light novels, follow the link below to check it out.
Hello, Leonardo Cornejo here with another video. Today I want to talk about names and naming conventions. Why? Well, because when you are writing, every now and then, you are insecure, especially if you are making up names. I mean, if you are borrowing them from history, from cultural things. I mean, if you name a guy Achilles, well, it's not going to sound that weird, right? I mean, that's what one does most of the time, no? Taking names from culture, from history. But when you basically take and make a name up without a pre-existing background or distorting a pre-existing name, you start to find yourself in a situation where you start, and for example, that's useful when dealing with aliens, with with civilizations from another world. You start using names that make no real sense, have no etymological origin in our languages, and you start hesitating, and you start thinking, maybe I'm fucking it up. Maybe Zenith and Ruwa are weird fucking names, and I shouldn't be using them. Um, or for example, you use names that are relatively weird or have special naming conventions for certain cultures. For example, and we have seen it in Dragon Ball that all Saiyans have vegetable names. Several characters have food-related names. Let's not start with Bulma's family, please. Let's not talk about it. The thing is, you start hesitating. Start thinking, maybe I fucked it up. Maybe it is weird that all characters of this culture have plant-related names. That all characters of this civilization have food-related names. Maybe I shouldn't have named that Catgirl Mocha. Maybe I shouldn't have named that Kobold Natron. And then you remember, it's not that big deal. What I'm talking about. As I said, this is about the insecurities one as a writer might have with names, with terms, basically everything related to naming, be either objects or characters. And I'm basically going to tell you, don't worry about it. Even relevant authors, big name authors, have some really cringe inducing names in their books, and they have the confidence, and that's the important part. What you need is confidence. They have the confidence to release it as it is, to say whatever, let's put it. Again, the example of Toriyama. The naming pattern Toriyama uses, the naming conventions Toriyama uses, are cringe inducing if you look at it from a different perspective. If you saw it outside of Dragon Ball, if you are fully aware of the origin of the names, you start thinking, what kind of fucking idiot decided all these aliens have to carry names of vegetables? That this whole family has names referring to underwear. If it wasn't Toriyama, if it wasn't because of his writing and his character designs and the fact that he made it fun, you would think whoever named these characters is a fucking idiot. And because it is Japanese, because sincerely, when it is foreign, naming things with naming things and characters with terms from a foreign language, suddenly he's not carrot, he's zanahoria, and that makes him cool because he's zanahoria. But if you read it in Spanish, that means carrot, and it's comical. That's, for example, what happens with most names in Dragon Ball. They are not just naming patterns; they are in reference to things, and often in English, which, for example, Broly is comes from broccoli, and it's like he's broccoli. You can't take that seriously, but you do. You do because Toriyama made it cool, and that's the point. You don't need to worry about not having the perfect name for your character, for your planet, or for your device. It might sound stupid. You might think, wait, this sounds like shit. But unless you are calling it the shit covered villain, it doesn't sound like shit. It doesn't sound offensive. It doesn't sound stupid. You need to be careful with some things, but certainly it doesn't sound that bad. And it happens in many contexts. Sometimes what is a normal, harmless name in one country is profanity in another. I won't go into detail with that because it will make you more insecure, and that's not the purpose of this. But for example, really famous authors have used really stupid names, and I'm going to say stupid, not not that it is not that it is their insecurity speaking, and that's my point. You might be insecure, but I want to bring two examples. One of them, I don't really remember the name of the author. I did know he was an award winner and he was important, but there is this series called Witch and Wizard. The villain is named the one who is the one. I had many insecurities with some of the villains in my books. I had insecurities with naming the one of the villains Sasha. It was a name a friend gave me. I was like, "Quick, give me a name, a Slavic name for a villain, Sasha." Okay. Another is the Princess Anna, who is a reference to Anita Sarkeesian. I'm not gonna lie, and I was really insecure with that. Finally, the made-up name is Perelok, and I was insecure with his name. In the second book, there are also names that made me feel insecure. In general, the whole series. I mean, for example, there I have this naming convention with a group of characters that are a group of uh, circus themed criminals. They show up with in the first book. You meet three of them: Hamelin, Punch, and Judy. And in the next books, there will be others showing up. They are recurrent antagonists, and one of them becomes one of the protagonists. Some of them reform, some don't. And the thing is, I was really insecure about the naming pattern because the naming pattern is mostly reference to children related things: tales, stories, theater plays, dolls, books, fiction books. And for example, you have names like Gulliver, um, Harriet, um, Tom from Tom Thumb, Hamelin himself. They are basically reference to children related things, and they are all basically a few of them are more serious literature. For example, there is Dorian from Dorian Gray, but they are all in reference to basically fine arts and children related things. And I was really insecure about that because I thought, well, how do I fit it in my world? I mean, my world doesn't have the same history as ours. Avlaan doesn't have the same history as Earth. But I said, fuck it, let's go for it anyway. I have other insecurities, for example, again with made up names, with a few other naming patterns, and I had really big insecurities. But then I found out about the one who is the one. I was like, that's the stupidest name you could give to a villain. It is obviously an attempt at taking some, how do I say, taking some attention from the kind of writing found in Harry Potter, with Voldemort being you know who and the Dark Lord and whatever and never being named. But this in this case sounds stupid. The one who is the one is like, just leave it at the one, or the great one, the the superior one that could fit, but the one who is the one. Great, it makes no fucking sense, and I won't bother reading the book. I heard it's quite bad for, especially considering the author is an award-winning author. I won't bother reading the fucking book. I think it's stupid. The writing is bad. I was told the writing is bad by people who know about good and bad writing, and no matter what excuse they make for the name, it's stupid. It's stupid, and he had the confidence of releasing it that way. That's my point. Or, for example, the series The Mortal Instruments, which was made out of spite of Harry Potter. No, no kidding. It was originally a rape fic where Ron rapes his own sister. Okay, it was named Harry Potter and the Mortal Instruments, and it was later on named The Mortal Instruments. And everything is like, this is fanfic level writing made into its own officialized series, so don't expect good writing, even though the author is famous and the series is popular and maybe some of you might like it, but the truth is it's inspired by a bad Harry Potter fanfic. And many things were just changed in name or in context, and the title speaks for itself, is the title of the fanfic. The title itself sounds kinda weird. Of course, judging and everything else is not on the table in that regard. It's not that bad compared to the one who is the one, so I won't be judging. Oh, and Witch and Wizard also has this thing about the characters both being siblings with W in their names, and that's why they are Witch and Wizard. The naming in that book is like so uncreative, so childish, so unintelligent, that all my doubts were dispelled with that one. And as I was saying, regarding the Mortal Instruments, well, the Mortal Instruments, well, where are the Mortal Instruments? The title isn't that good. If you are low on confidence on the title you gave to your book, don't worry. And then there is this other naming case, which is probably the one that will add controversy to this video. George R. R. Martin isn't that great with names. I will say it, he isn't that great with names. Why? Hodor. The whole concept of Hodor is bad. The big reveal that he's like a prophetic, how do I say it without being rude, like a prophetic idiot savant, and that's a term, like a prophetic idiot savant who is seeing the future, and he's remembering hold the door, and that's why he says Hodor, and that's why it is stuck as his name. It's stupid. It's stupid, and it's bad writing, to be honest. Of course, George R. R. Martin is not that good of a writer. I consider myself better than him. Yeah, I know it is a controversial statement, but I have three reasons. One, I am not woke. Two, I didn't write myself into a corner. Actually, I am struggling with inspiration because of outside sources. I actually have an outline of what I plan to do. I didn't write myself into a corner. And three, I intend to finish my books. Even despite the writer's block, which I have been facing for a month, I have intentions of finishing the series, of writing forever, and he has no intentions of finishing because you didn't like the ending. He gave you an ending and you didn't like it. But back to Hodor. It's a terrible naming idea. It was weird already, but it worked because he was basically a Pokemon. He only said Hodor. He was basically a Pikachu, but because in the outside of the anime, in the canon, not all the Pokemon say their names, but he was basically a Pikachu saying Hodor, 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 and that's why it stuck. Alright, that works, that makes sense. But when it's the reveal that it is because hold the door, that's stupid. That's the stupid part. That's where it gets dumb. That's where it gets bad. And many of you out there writing, and I know from experience because I've been there, are hesitant because your character sounds weird, the object sounds weird, the name sounds weird. Just do it. with confidence. If they have the confidence of hold the door and the one who is the one, you can have the confidence too. Have confidence in your writing in that regard. No name is stupid enough to sound bad if you are good enough as a writer and if you are cool enough. If you manage to sell enough, even if you are not that good as a writer, if you manage to sell enough, no name is too bad. As I said, unless it is the shit covered bellend, no name is too bad. Be confident. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how bad the name of your thing might sound. There is always something that sounds worse. And the one who is the one remains the undefeatable bad name. Well, that's for today. Have a good one.